right, folks, let's talk about what's shaping up to be one of the most relentless winters we've seen in years across the United States. As I'm looking at these graphics coming in tonight, it's clear the cold is not waiting around this year.
We're already seeing the first signs of true Arctic air trying to break loose and spill south, and it looks like this pattern is setting up to lock in and hold deep into the winter months.
I've got chills just looking at these temperature anomalies. And believe me, by the end of October, a lot of you in the Midwest and the Great Lakes will be feeling those chills too, right outside your front door. As we move through the final days of October, this is where things start to turn. I'm talking about that first real shot of Arctic air diving down out of Canada, bringing that unmistakable November feel before the calendar even flips. Chicago, Milwaukee, Minneapolis. You guys are looking at overnight lows dipping into the 20s, with some flurries flying by Halloween.
Yeah, that early.
And once this pattern sets up, it doesn't just fade away.
It builds, it strengthens.
It feeds off itself. By early November, the jet stream is going to start buckling. And when that happens, you know what that means. We get storm after storm, riding right along that boundary between Arctic air to the north and lingering warmth to the south.
That's the classic setup for big snowmakers. And this year, it's shaping up to be one of those winters where the storm track stays active for months. I'm seeing signs of multiple systems that could dump anywhere from 6 to 12 inches across parts of the upper Midwest, the plains, and the interior Northeast before we even reach Thanksgiving.
That's the kind of start that reminds me of the legendary 2013 winter, the one people still talk about.
Where cities like Cleveland, Buffalo, and Minneapolis were buried time and time again. By the way,
if you'd like specific weather forecasts for your region or city, please leave them in the comments. I'll answer them individually as time allows. Also, if you like the video and subscribe to my channel, you'd be very grateful. Now let's move on. Now as we step into December, this is when winter really flexes its muscles. The cold air starts locking in coast to coast, and I mean that literally. The central US becomes the freezer, the East Coast turns stormy, and even places that don't typically see consistent snow, like Nashville, Oklahoma City, and parts of northern Texas, could be getting in on the action this year.
Take a look here on the map. See this deep blue shading over the Midwest and Great Lakes? That's the Arctic Express settling in.
We're talking daytime highs, struggling to get out of the teens in Minneapolis by early December. And Chicago could be seeing its first significant snowpack building early in the month, maybe 8 to 12 inches total, before mid-December rolls around. Cleveland, Detroit, and Buffalo. You're looking at a potentially dominant lake effect setup this winter.
With those Great Lakes staying relatively warm into November, that cold blast pouring over them will ignite massive snow bands. And I mean massive.
Some areas along the southeast shores of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario could see 80 to even 100 inches by mid-January if this pattern holds. That's near what we saw back in 2013, when those same snowbelts got absolutely hammered week after week. Heading out west, things are looking just as active, but for different reasons. The Pacific Northwest, Seattle, Portland, Spokane. You're going to be dealing with a parade of systems slamming into the coast, bringing heavy mountain snow across the Cascades, Misset Hood, Mount Rainier, and the Northern Rockies are likely to see above normal snowpack this year. I'm talking about 150 to 180% of average snowfall. And that's fantastic news for the ski resorts, but it's also a signal that the cold air aloft is going to dominate.
Denver, Salt Lake City, and even Albuquerque could see several major snow events through December and January,
with totals in the 40 to 60 inch range across much of the interior West by midwinter. Now let's talk about the South, because this is where things get interesting. This winter doesn't just stop at the Mason-Dixon line. I'm seeing indications of multiple southern storms riding that subtropical jet.
Which means parts of the Deep South, yes. Even you folks in northern Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas could see surprise snow and ice events this year.
Remember 2013 when Atlanta briefly turned into a skating rink? We might have a repeat scenario.
Not identical, but definitely similar dynamics. For cities like Nashville, Birmingham, and Charlotte,
expect 2 to 4 measurable snow events this season, with total snowfall ranging between 6 and 12 inches, well above normal for those areas. As we move into January, this is where things get serious. The cold intensifies, the snowpack deepens, and the pattern just doesn't want to quit.
You'll see it right here on the map.
Those deep purple and pink shades diving straight out of the Arctic Circle into the continental US. We're talking about overnight lows plunging well below zero across the northern plains. Fargo, Bismarck, Minneapolis. You could be staring at 15 to 25,000 by mid-January. Even the Ohio Valley, places like Columbus, Indianapolis, and Pittsburgh, could be hitting single digits several mornings in a row.
And you know what that means. Every single system that rides through is pure snow.
Not the slushy kind. I'm talking dry, powdery, lake-enhanced snow that piles up fast. New England, you're in for it too. Boston, Hartford, and Portland could be looking at one of their snowiest seasons in the last decade. A series of nor'easters looks likely from late December through February, with at least 3 opportunities for major snowstorms. Boston could end the winter near 70 inches, while interior New England, like Worcester and Burlington, might be pushing 90. And New York City, this is your redemption year. After a few mild, disappointing winters, this season looks primed to deliver multiple measurable snowfalls. I wouldn't be surprised to see NYC rack up 35 to 40 inches by the time
March rolls around, nearly double what you've had in recent years. Let's swing back to the Midwest one more time, because this region is going to be the heart of winter's fury.
Chicago could finish near 65 inches of snow, Detroit around 70, and Cleveland possibly exceeding 90 if those lake effect events stack up. Minneapolis,
you might be flirting with 80 to 85 inches, putting you right back into 2013 territory.
That's how impressive this setup looks right now. As for the West Coast, California's Sierra Nevada looks like a jackpot zone once again. Heavy Pacific moisture meeting cold air means we could see 400 to 500 inches of snow piling up in the higher elevations by late February. Mammoth, Tahoe, and Yosemite's upper peaks are all going to get buried, setting up an incredible ski season, but also some avalanche concerns. And while February usually offers a bit of a break, this year might be different.
I'm seeing signals that cold air could reload and deliver one final punch late in the season. That means even as we head into March, winter might refuse to let go. The snowpack could linger across the Midwest and Northeast, deep into the month, keeping temperatures well below normal into early spring. So to sum it all up, winter 2025 is shaping up to be a season to remember. The kind of winter that tests your furnace, your patience, and your snow shovel.
We're talking about a setup that looks colder, snowier, and longer than what we've seen in recent years. One that echoes the brutal, storybook winter of 2013. And the best part? We don't even have to wait long to feel it.
The first true blast of Arctic air is already on the way.
Within the next week, the Midwest and Great Lakes will be seeing overnight lows in the 20s, maybe even teens, with snowflakes mixing in by Halloween weekend. So, get ready, folks. Stock up on the salt, dust off those snowblowers, and make sure your winter gear's ready to go. Because once this cold pattern takes hold, it's not letting go anytime soon. This is the kind of winter you'll remember for years, and it all begins right now.